Bung, bung.
Are you all right with this one?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, we are sponsored by Coca-Cola. Can you imagine the revenue Coca-Cola would bring?
Because there's no sugar in that, is there?
No, but then I have a Coke Zero actually,
Which is probably worse for you.
I think this is more. I mean, they're never going to sponsor us now, but I think this is more. I mean,
know.
straight in with the hot topic. I will just. In fact, this is my biggest gripe with modern society.
Yeah.
That stupid, gosh darn lid that's now attached permanently. I can't. My nose is too big. I can't get in the.
And what's it meant to do? Is that,
I don't know.
Is that saving the? Is that sustainable?
Well, apparently so. It says I'm attached to recycle together, but I was always taught to take the lids off anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, it makes no difference if it's in some dogging lay-by. It's still going to have a lid on it or a lid off it, isn't it? It makes no difference.
Yeah.
But I've ruined 2 T-shirts now. I often have a smoothie in the morning, and they're often quite colourful, and a blackcurrant one, whatever.
Yeah.
Ruined because all the gump goes on the inside of it, and then you go to drink, and you're trying to pull it out of the way, and it flicks and just ruins your...
You have got a big nose, like you said.
I do have a big nose. Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah,
I think
I've not really noticed it. It does suit you. Yeah.
Big knob.
I'm gonna. Does it sort of stick out? Which bit of the helmet sticks out further when the visor's open? Is it the nose?
I do actually have a helmet sizing on my head is actually quite a problem for me because I have quite a Snoopy sort of face, like it's long and straight, like pointy,
long and thin.
So at high speed,
yeah.
I have to fit my helmets properly because at high speed I'll get it'll start touching the end of my nose, and it's the most annoying thing. And at the end of like a track day, I'll have this big red.
Especially if you just shave the hairs in your nose, because then it gets really itchy.
Yes, a big red boil on the end of my...
Don't talk to me about helmet sizes, mate. You think you've got... I mean, firstly, this is living proof, that you don't have any issues with helmet sizes.
No.
I grew up, my nickname from about the age of 8 at school was Big Head, and it wasn't the one that's in my pants, that's for sure. It was this one. And
was it a metaphorical or physical? Was it like a...
It is a physical.
Okay.
Definitely physical. I had absolutely no self-esteem when I was younger.
Oh.
And to this day it has plagued me with helmets, no matter what, if it's a bicycle or a motorbike lid or go-kart. The amount of go-karting sessions I've missed out on holidays and stuff because they don't have...
They didn't have one big enough.
I was at Le Mans at the 24-hour race a couple of weeks ago, and I got the opportunity, along with Petrolped, to go for a hot lap around the Le Mans circuit an hour before the race start in a 992 GTS with a pro driver who works there, flat out for a full lap with all the crowds there. All we had to do was put a helmet on. They couldn't run a helmet. Thankfully, at the last minute, one of the marshals had a bike lid or something. Anyway, I've got a big head. This is,
Wow.
Big head. But I'm such a big man.
It doesn't look like you are quite a broad young fellow.
Yeah.
I say young.
Young. We're the same age.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit older than you, aren't I?
Well, yeah, but
Am I?
I mean, for your sake, we could say we're the same age.
Okay,
so,
well, yeah. Would we have been in the same year at school? I'd have definitely called you Big Head.
Yes.
And you'd have called me Big Nose.
No, you would
We'd
have
probably been mates. Big Head, Big Nose, KISSING. Anyway. That was a long introduction. Welcome to podcast number 2. Joe Achilles is with us here. I don't know if you have heard of Joe Achilles. Most people haven't.
No.
But anyway, we've known each other for... it's got to be 10 years now, isn't it?
You mean when we first met at a go-karting race and I kicked your ass?
Well, I had 2 ribs.
No, 1 sec. But was that factually right?
Yeah, on the place you go every day. Yeah. And I had 2 ribs broken in that race.
You did, yes.
As well, actually. Which we'll talk about later.
Mm.
But yes, so Joe Achilles, obviously BMW fanboy of the car world.
I get paid more by BMW than you guys do.
Yeah, and that is a massive amount of money.
It's just unbelievable.
And a few of you actually mentioned on the last podcast with Nevesy, I was like, who should I get on? And a few of you said Joe, so here he is.
I've accidentally done that.
I mean, it's been a while. So I've actually to do this second podcast, but I really enjoyed the first one, and hopefully this is going to be it for now. This is a bit of a renegade setup, and I'm going to keep checking this microphone because I'm just worried that everything's going to break. But I think we're okay. So if you see me looking in a funny direction, I'm not engaged with you. I'm just being professional.
I thought you were just bored already.
And that's what I was trying to. I was trying to put my phone on flight mode.
Yeah.
A minute ago. You saw me fiddling with my phone. Anyway, so Joseph.
No, just Joe. I was named after my grandmother who died a few months before I was born.
Your grandma's called Joe?
Yes, J-O. Yeah, it used to be a common, I think it was a lot more common back in the day. So then they called me Joe, but with an E.
So she wasn't like a they, them?
No, she was a full-on she.
Right, okay.
Yeah, like she was born with a fanny and then continued to be a fanny. So...
if we have any ghosts in the house, I apologise for speaking ill of the dead. But anyway, so Joe Achilles, do you want to just give us a little, what do you do?
So I am a full-time YouTuber now since 2021. I mostly specialise in cars, the four-wheel variety, but actually over the past, I've always been into bikes and I love MotoGP and all the rest of it, but over the past, I would say 6 or 7 years of really knowing you well, or maybe it's been longer than that, 8-9 years, I've really fancied myself on a bike, on a two-wheel motorbike, and I ended up getting my bike license a couple of years ago with BMW rider training, and
paid for, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, everything's free, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've got an obsession with that. I love watching your stuff, I just appreciate anything with a motor, with an engine, with a combustion pop bang thing in it.
Suck, blow, piss.
Exactly. Yeah. Not just none of the new electric variety. I'm not the biggest fan of. But
we can talk about that. I mean, there is a time and a place for that technology, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone's interested, I know we do this at the end, but YouTube is Joe Achilles.
Yes, yeah. Instagram and YouTube are probably my two main platforms, and just Joe Achilles spelt like the heel. And I appreciate any love and any support.
As we all do.
Yeah.
Love is everything, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. No, but you say that and joke. Yeah, it is, isn't
I'm
it?
not joking.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Come and see you today, actually. I know we both, and I love this about Chris, that you talk a lot about mental health and the ups and downs of life in particular. I think some people are lucky enough never to suffer from that. Some people suffer really badly but never talk about it, etc., etc. But I know I've suffered from it for a long time. And I know over the years, especially during those C years, it could stand for anything really, couldn't it? But we both supported each other with long phone calls and
what the hell is going on?
Yes,
what have you heard? This is happening now.
Yeah.
Hang on, there's a number to go in the pub. Like how dangerous it is. Do you remember that actually happened?
or when he's standing up. Yeah. Oh, he's just going to his table. It's all right. It's okay. Wait, he's got his mask off, but he's eating. Oh, it's all right. Okay, you're fine. Yeah. I mean,
I was sat in the Wetherspoons. My mate came down. And he was like, "Oh, you're only in Group 2. I'm in Group 3. I'm in like DEFCON 3." And I was like, "What does Group 2 mean?" And he's like, "Well, basically, I remember having a discussion. We went to Wetherspoons, and in Group 2, you were allowed 4 pints, and then if you wanted another one, you had to order a pizza. So every 4 pints, we'd have to order a pizza.
Sounds like a money-making scam.
I mean, look,
who would have thought that COVID was about making money?
I mean, well, it definitely sounds like that's for our health. Right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Every 4 pints, you got to order a pizza.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that is
insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get onto that later. No doubt. Just ping into my microphone. Bikes.
Yes.
You riding?
I'm not. I'm not really. No. Last year, I was very lucky to get a long-term GS that I had for 4 months. And to be fair, I think I had it from like June or July through to about October. And to be fair, I did really make the most of that bike because there was one thing, when I knew I was getting that bike, I said to myself, there's one thing I've got to do with it, is take it down to the Alps. I do a lot of road driving in cars and love taking them abroad to the Alps or to the Pyrenees because, let's face it, in this day and age, UK roads, pretty crap. UK law, just everything. There's nothing incentivizes me to go fast in a car or anything in UK roads. So as soon as I got the bike, it was like, it wasn't so much about going fast. It was just more about experiencing and exploring places like the Alps, but on a bike where you've got all this vision, you can smell everything, and just it's a completely different experience for me, a newbie. And there's a bit of speed in there as well, but not much because I know I'm not very talented on a bike. But I just loved it. Yeah, so I had a great time. But this year, I've been looking at getting myself a bike. I came very close to putting a deposit on one because finance deals on the new GS were relatively attractive for how much the bike was costing. But then I came up on a stumbling block, and it was a big stumbling block.
Was that insurance by any chance?
It was insurance. Yeah.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, horrible.
So what was the result of that? You ended up not buying a bike because of the insurance.
Exactly that. Yeah. I mean, honestly,
and you're rich as fuck. And it's a BMW, so it would have been heavily discounted.
Yeah. I'm poor by your standards.
I mean, all these YouTubers.
Oh yeah, we got loads on. Remember, believe everything you see on every social platform because it's all completely true.
Yeah.
The bike, as I said, the finance payments alone, I was like, okay, well, I could probably justify that, even though realistically, I'm probably going to ride this bike 20 times for the entire year. And then I got home and I started researching insurance, and 99% of insurers wouldn't even insure the bike, or me, sorry.
And just quickly, when did you pass your test?
So I passed my test in July 22. So 2 years ago, essentially. Yeah. But when I was looking a few months ago, it was 20 months or something. So I hadn't had my license 2 years. So I get that I'm...
But you are, excuse my divulgence here, 45?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not like you're a little young shit that's just...
And I've got a very clean driving license in the car. I've had my license for well over 20 years. I live in a relatively nice area. You've been to my house. I've got a garage and all the rest of it.
Well, I went to the west wing of it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go... I didn't go down the main gate. So I was with the chefs and the servants down in the basement. Actually, but the basement did look nice. It's nicer than most people's houses.
Yes, that's what I like to keep it.
I like the big BMW round door on the castle turret.
Oh, did you? Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I thought that might have been too far for you to see.
Oh, no. People in Norwich could see that.
Okay. So... and anyway, I ended up getting one insurance quote because I can't even remember the name of the company, and I wish, I can't remember who it was, but I called them, and in the end, with a really high excess, it was 5,800 quid.
Wow!
So $6,000 for a bike that was worth, okay, fair enough. The bike was, I think it was like 21 or 22 grand's worth of GS, which is a lot of money, but that's a third of the value of the bike.
Yeah.
And I thought, then I started breaking it down to, okay, so if I rode this 15 times for this year, for the next year, or 20 times, how much is that going to cost me per ride? And all of a sudden I was just like, nah, this is not happening. And yeah, even if I had lots of money, I'd feel like I was just being completely ripped off.
Well, you are being rogered. I mean, there was the new GS did have issues because I don't remember this being a historic issue, but when new bikes come along, the insurance industry like to assess the cost of repairing it or replacing it.
Right.
And because it was a brand new machine, it was like, oh, we don't know, so let's put a higher premium on it. But then you did get a quote for the older 1250, didn't you?
Yep.
And it was still $4,000 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Just over.
Which is crazy because that's basically saying there's a 1 in 3 chance within a year that bike's going to be written off or stolen.
Yep.
Which is insane.
It is insane. It's not fair.
No, and you're not the... I mean, my good friend James at Vines, BMW Motorrad, hello James, I was chatting to him and he's had customers, so he's in the sales department, that about 6 customers this year that have gone through to completion, here's all the money, everything, and then had to go, sorry, I can't buy it because nobody's offering me insurance. And these aren't young, inexperienced people. It's just like... even myself, like I got quoted, if I went raw into an S1000RR, I'd get 1,600 quid a year.
Wow.
Yeah, on its own.
Yeah.
And it's just like a lot of people are like, "Do you know, I can't afford the insurance. It's not. I'm sorry, it's not worth it."
No.
And it's a very valid point because a lot of, let's face it, most bikes don't get ridden in the winter time at all.
No.
So then you got, okay, over summer, how often am I going to spend on the bike?
Yeah.
Where am I going to go? Most people, if they've got a touring bike like you want, you might do 2 or 3 Euro trips a year.
Yeah.
And then you might, on a nice sunny day, go out for a ride on a Sunday.
I might have come down here today on it.
Yeah, with your missus or whatever.
Yeah.
And if she's not with me, of course. And then, I don't know why I've said that. I can't help myself. So, yeah, the price per ride becomes excessive.
Yeah. To the point where you'd almost, where you do begrudge it, don't you? And you're just like...
Well, it's not. It's immoral. It's not even. Oh, do you know, I can't afford that. You know, you're being absolutely rooted. So you just
I think every time I see it, if I had that bike, every time I saw it in the garage, and I've been away a lot the last few months, so I wouldn't have had, even if the weather was nice, which it hasn't been. It's only just started to. It's summer. Here's some sunshine for a couple of days.
It's actually really hot in here.
It's really.
I might actually have to take my trousers off in a minute. But I know you won't mind.
Wow. Yeah, if my hands go missing.
Yeah. I've got some of those.
I would actually be at the point, I've got a rowing machine in the garage and I'm in there every other morning and it's just great for the mind. As you, again, what you know, with your walks and stuff, a bit of exercise first thing in the morning is just
Fantastic.
Great. And, but I would be looking at it going, I hate you. Because I'm not going to ride you today. And today, sitting there, you're costing me this much, mostly because of the insurance. And I think I'd start begrudging and hating the fact that I've got an expensive bike. Because, how many have we got around here?
Yeah, but here's the difference. A lot of these bikes, apart from that one, they're all going to stay the same value or potentially go up.
Yes.
And actually, I find I do have a GS. I do have a 1250 GS. Which is going down in value, but I do use that a lot. But it's not a disaster. But the older bikes are, and I did even suggest to you, just buy a shitty old thing.
Yeah.
And just get on it. And actually, there's not that much difference in terms of, I know you're worried about reliability and stuff, but the modern bikes, as great as they are, you're just as likely to have a sensor go and it to go into limp mode or have a problem for some reason or turn it off and on. Very software driven. An older bike, yeah, you might get something coming loose, but pretty much most of the time you can fix it with a bit of gaffer tape and a cable tie, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't let that put you off. And there's some amazing older bikes out there. Even if you got an older 1200 GS.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I would probably go out on a limb to say the first of the water-cooled 1200 GS Adventures is probably one of the best bikes in terms of a rounded package.
And what are they? 7-8 grand now?
They're probably still about, you'd struggle to get a lowish mileage one for 8, but you could there are, a 30,000 mile one would be 8 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 30,000 miles on one of those is not a problem.
Okay.
But it's interesting you say about the cost of bikes, because you add up the cost per ride and you go, well, you're paying 6 grand a year for insurance. Let's be kind and say you managed to find a quote for 3.
Yeah.
Which is still an absolute buggering.
Yeah.
But then what's that divided by 12 a year? That's like what? It's over 300 quid.
Yeah. Yes. Under.
Just under
280 quid or something. Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
Just to insure it.
Yeah.
What would the finance be?
I think now the payments were less than 200 quid.
Right.
Yeah.
So another 200 quid.
Yes. Yeah.
What was the deposit?
About 5 or 6 grand or something.
Which you probably wouldn't get back at the end of the 2-year term.
No.
So you've lost 5 grand. You've lost £200 a month. £500 a month for insurers, not including tax, fuel, tyres, servicing, all that other stuff. So the cost per ride.
Yes.
I mean,
that's before you. Yeah,
it's about 600 quid.
Yeah, before you add the price of if you take it to the Alps, you then very quickly realise, me as a car guy, it's like, I'll take a motorbike to the Alps. But what you don't realise is it's no more efficient than a car to drive down there. I mean, but I must say this: when I got there, so it was a 1250 GS I took there. On the motorway, it's about the same as an average car.
Awful, yeah.
Yeah, but when you're in the Alps, absolutely, well, at my level, like, because it's like, oh my God, I'm doing 50 miles to the gallon.
Yeah,
I'm doing I'm doing better MPG here than I was on the motorway at 80 miles an hour, whereas in the car, it's the other way around, isn't it?
I mean, that particular example, though, is quite specific to the GS, because they're not aerodynamic. Did you have panniers on?
I had a bag behind me,
Right.
but yeah.
I mean,
with my big head.
Yeah, your big head. I mean, the drag off that skull. You had a load of cyclists behind you, like slipstreaming. But the above, the GS is not good.
Okay.
But if you found the difference between 80 mile an hour plus, it absolutely drinks.
Yes.
Whereas below like 70,
Yeah.
or around 70, it's kind of all right.
Yeah.
But if you're on even if you're on like a super bike, like that crappy old Gix 1000 there, that'll be doing 60 mpg at 80.
Oh, right, because it's just so much more slippery than...
Yeah, it just...
Yeah, I think that's the one bit I didn't
But
enjoy.
when you get to the Alps, you'll be caning. So the GS is a bit of an anomaly in that respect.
Okay,
but,
that's interesting.
But yeah, and
it's just, it makes it difficult, doesn't it? I think,
you've got to really want it.
Yeah, there's a big barrier to entry in that sense, and I think that kind of sums up from my novice point of view, looking into the bike industry in the UK at least. I've always known that most people that own bikes in the UK have them as a bit of a toy to play with on the weekends, or there are people that could commute, and I know that you used to commute on yours. That's where the channel started back in the day, in London and cities more so, but then you do start to, like I said, I think the combination of us having 13 months of winter, and you kind of like, you do think, wow.
And you can't leave it anywhere as well.
You can't leave it
and the insurance policies here, if it's outside your house for more than 8 seconds it's a Tuesday afternoon between temperature ranges of X and Y, then you're not insured, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And
because I got, again, when I had that GS press bike, I was like, one of the first things I thought, Mum and Dad, I grew up in central London, so Mum and Dad still live there. And I thought, I hate going into London now. I've lived away for like 12 years, and I don't mind going in as a tourist, in for a night, and then out, done. But as soon as I got the bike, I thought, actually, it'd be quite nice to go on the bike, cruise around London, and just take in the sights and whatever. But then, I spoke to Neil at BMW. Oh yeah, mate, you can't leave. Like, if you're going in to see your parents, you can't leave. It's like, you can't. No, you can't. You can't leave. You can't, and that's not.
You can't get off the
BMW
bike.
or Neil. That's insurance. That's literally like, you can't. Oh, right. so suddenly you're like, okay, so where? Like, what? It really, everything does start limiting you as to what you can do with them, and it's a shame. And just to put into perspective, insurance, while we're talking about it, as we know, it's going up for whether it's your house, whether it's your car, whether it's your motorbike. But my car, so I've got an M3 Touring, which has got a book value of £100,000. It's not worth that, but I think that's what it's up for, 95 maybe. So what's that? 5 times more than the GS I was trying to insure, and that's 850 quid for me. And 850 quid for £100,000 object. There is no,
which can go a lot faster as well.
Which can go. Yeah.
Top speed.
Oh, the motorbike or the car?
The car.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
GS will top out 145.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. The car. It's not a slow car, is it? It's a very stealable car. It's a car. But yet, it's still a lot. I would have paid.
It's a lot more to fix.
It's a lot more to fix. I mean, yeah. You dig in the front end, or you take a radiator. They write those cars off like that these days. If there's a few bits that have gone wrong.
Why is insurance that much money? Is it? I know I don't want to hate on electric cars straight away, but it does seem that a lot of electric cars are getting written off for little minor incidents, which a normal ICE car would be able to take.
Yep.
But nobody can afford to spend 45 grand replacing the whole battery pack because it's got a little graze in it or something, because no one wants to touch it. So all these things are getting written off.
Yep.
I mean, that's probably part of it.
Yep.
But I can't.
But they're also you're right. Well, I've heard whispers, especially in the car industry, that the general car insurance price has gone up because of the wonderful EVs. And also, as you say, not only in the past, if let's go back to my M3, if that's written off, touch wood, it's written off from a minorish incident, but it's like, it's not economical to fix it or whatever, we're going to write it off. Matt Armstrong or someone else or the scrapyard, that's still got a lot of value in it, that car, as a written off car. Still got probably half of its value at least in parts, but an EV that's written off, what value is what you're gonna what do you?
Well, even if it's not written off, I mean, you've seen the EV values now.
I know, it's so true, isn't it? I mean, it does make me laugh. It's comical.
I mean, we were having a coffee earlier, and I think we were talking about the older you get, the more you realise that nobody knows what the hell is going on.
No.
Like, people are in their jobs, roles, whether a politician or a corporate exec.
More so politician. It's almost like the higher pay grade.
They have no idea.
No.
There's a couple of people who do.
Yeah.
They're right at the top of the tree.
Yes.
And they're the ones that control all the money
Yeah.
and make all the money and influence decision to change things. And they invest and they make a shitload of money and they're great. But everyone below that is like, oh, right, yeah, well, green agenda or whatever it is this day, that day, whatever that policy is that's going to infiltrate every aspect of our life, down to this stupid fucking bottle top that makes me not enjoy my
I got a can.
my ice cold Coca-Cola Zero. Because I've got to now navigate my massive nose. It's nosist, is what it is.
Yeah, but can you drink? Oh, did you not get a can? Because
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That gets in the yeah. And I'll cut. Cans are sharp. I'll cut the top off it.
Oh.
It's like Gonzo's proboscis.
But it's so true. And if you're probably the chance are probably pretty high that you're younger and watching this, it's something that I've discovered. I don't know about you, Chris, but I've discovered in the past 5 years, I would say since I've turned 40, and this is not me being big-headed in in the other aspect, that you do start to see through the bullshit with everything and everyone and every sector. I've worked in a lot of things over my life. I was a chauffeur for 10 years. I worked in the fashion industry for 12, 13 years. And so I knew that back then was just full of bullshit and everything was smoke and mirrors. But what I didn't realise was actually pretty much every other industry in the world is just the same. And when you get to, I've got to a point, and you said it a minute ago when we pulled up, you just get to a point in your life, you're like, I don't give a shit about anything else. All I give a shit about is, not selfishly, but me, Lou, my dog, my family, my friends. That's what I really give a shit about. Everything else can get, I'm not going to use the F word because I'm not sure if I can use that in this podcast, but and
fuck.
Yeah, everything else can get fucked. But you do, it took me a long time to realise that. But then when you see it everywhere, and you're just like, everyone is just playing. Everyone is just bullshitting their way through life. Some people in a good way, some people in a bad way. But you just can't believe that some businesses operate when they're so bad, and their teams and their staff and everything's so bad. So if you ever want to do something in life, and you
you don't have the confidence.
Yeah.
Please have the confidence.
Have the confidence, because
most people are morons.
Most people are morons, and if you want to do it in the first place, then that's all the more reason to try and succeed with whatever it is. Because if you've got that motivation to do it, and you want to do it, it's like you with bikes and me with cars, and it's like you will find a way there. And just don't believe that you're not good enough or that other people, because so much of it is honestly smoke and mirrors. Crazy. I've got water in here. I'm not actually drinking Coke.
No, but the Coca-Cola, the sponsor of the channel.
Of course, yes. And there's a BMW badge in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a collab between Coca-Cola and...
is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, BMW.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting, but the bit that gets me going is because you're right. A lot of it's like, do you know what? I'm just going to... It's not just... I'm not talking about like unqualified people making decisions for us, but because at some point you do go, oh, I'm just going to concentrate on my own life. But it gets so invasive and so... Like, when is the point that, and this is a stupid example, that little bottle top, how much, like, because of some thing that's happened somewhere, that now we all have to not enjoy things as much.
Yeah.
Like, where does it stop? And I'm not saying I'm going to go on like a massive parliamentary rant about bottle tops, but it's just another example of a slight degrading of my daily treats that I used to enjoy. Yeah. And I want to just go, just whatever, just don't let it get to you. But the fight in me of going, well, if you don't stop at that thing, it's just going to keep going. It doesn't seem that there's every person I speak to, like yourself or people I know, fair enough, we might be in the same social circles, but everyone is fed up with the rest of this shit that's just going on and force fed, and like everyone can see that the electric car thing, who knew from the beginning.
Yeah.
everyone could have predicted exactly what's happening now.
Yeah.
Everyone knew.
Yeah.
But because it was, no, this is right for the environment. Right for, I haven't got a problem with environmental issues. I think absolutely. But let's stop our water being polluted with shit, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, let's stop that. Let's actually be able to do something about that, not these numbers that anyone can manipulate to have any sort of, to enforce any policies. It's just ridiculous, and it infuriates me.
Yeah.
And I've actually been really quiet on topics like this for a while because I think it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. And then you have to put up with all the people like, oh yeah, whatever, you're just a mentalist.
Tinfoil hat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey.
Oh, you're wrong about oh no, you weren't.
No, you weren't. No, you're absolutely right.
But we won't talk about that now because that's in the past. We'll completely forget about the 2 years of hell and everyone. Oh, what? Someone else has died from a heart attack over there. Oh, I wonder why that was. Yeah. Oh, that sports athlete. Oh, he was really fit. He's died as well. All these people have just dropped dead. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, my heart goes out to them.
Yeah.
And
I'm just glad I did the right thing.
I'm glad I did the right thing. Let's go outside.
Yeah, I'm glad I harassed all these people who just asked questions about maybe this isn't the right policy. Anyway, it's not.
But you can see that's still mentally damaged both of us.
It's damaged me beyond. It's damaged me so much. Like,
but you're not going to die of a heart attack.
No.
Unless you drink Coca-Cola.
No.
Oh, sorry, sponsors.
No, but I resisted all to that because I'm a stubborn wanker.
No, but mate,
and I was like, do you know what? There's something morally not right about this.
Yeah.
This is the campaign to get everyone protected, let's say, and just the fact we can't even. I'm not even comfortable enough to openly talk about.
No,
it is so bad.
Because this video would get 0 views.
I don't give a shit.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's.
Yes. Yeah. But then, I don't know, because I don't know, the landscape's changing now because it's undeniably true. But it's just, but I tell you what, it changed me, those years changed me, it made me more of a cantankerous old prick. But what it did was it absolutely woke me up to everything else that goes on. Because it's the same model.
The news.
Everything.
It should be called The Lie.
Oh, it should be called the advertisement.
The advertisement, yeah.
Because whoever's paying the money, it's the same as
it's the same as electric cars. All the journalists, everyone that says they're the best thing in the world, they're all getting paid by manufacturers that are pushing electric cars. All these magazines is big. Oh yeah, it's the greatest thing in the world. Is it? What makes it great? It's just the greatest thing in the world. But what makes it great? It's the greatest thing in the world. Oh, all right. Yeah, okay. Oh, right. That's where your wage comes from. Oh, okay. I understand. That's the way the world works, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just
and
money.
It woke me up to that in such a way that I can never go to sleep again now. I do not trust a single fucking word that comes out of, and I'm not even going to call it mainstream media. I'm going to call it the corporate media, because it's just so obvious for decades that this has been going on. We only really know that it's been going on now because, fortunately, it is possible, if you know where to look, to actually get some information. And that I'm so thankful and grateful for the internet for that. There's some awful things that the internet has brought to us, but that. And that,
like you,
like me, yeah, and all those awful people that I encourage to do it themselves. But so I'm eternally grateful for that. And it's just, and I'm not angry at the people who don't see it. I just feel a bit sorry for them, really, that are like still. Oh, the BBC said it, so it must be completely true. And so long waffly story short. That thing woke me up to everything. I'm now so cynical. Not even cynical. That's a negative word. I'm so intrigued to do my own research on everything now.
Yep. Well, I mean, I always grew up, and my parents still, unfortunately, dare I say it, watch the news 3 times a day, listen to it on the radio, and but I was always.
Are they changing now? Because my mum and dad were like that as well. And I was like constantly on at them, like, don't believe it. Now my mum's like, I just don't even watch it anymore.
I'd like to think they watch less of it, but I know that they still do watch it and buy newspapers and stuff. But I was brought up very much that, the tabloids, full of rubbish, broadsheets, they're full of news. But I think I had a very raw experience that I know you've talked about on the 44 Teeth channel, actually. When I got done for speeding, because I was speeding, but it wasn't a horrific offence, but it was wrapped up to be a horrific offence, and they made a big example of me. And
sure they wanted the head YouTuber, you know.
Yeah, they wanted to make something of it, and they just decided to pick on me for whatever reason, and maybe one day I'll get to the bottom of it. I don't know, but they chose me as an example to put in the spotlight and throw under the bus, quite literally. Now that it was nearly a year of hell, that and just when I thought it was over, I'd come out of court and not lost my license, but I got a number of points, 6 points, and another chunky fine, which people know that was 600-700 quid, but I'd already spent 10 grand in legal fees, or if not more, and all the rest of it, and the stress. You know what? When you go through that, the money, I didn't have it at the time, but the money is secondary. It's the stress and the sleepless nights and all the rest of it.
Because that's your career, right?
That's my career, yeah. Losing my license and being put in that spotlight. But my point was, after I'd been through all that, gone through the court, come out, the charming police officer who had it out for me, Adam Shipley, who didn't want to go and fight real crimes and, you know, solve rape cases or any of the other stuff that was going on that was actual criminal. He wanted to come after me for whatever reason. He then went and talked to all the news outlets around the UK and told them, continued to tell them his version of the story, which had been proved wrong, and these lies. But of course, then all these news stations exaggerate that, because that's what they do. It's clickbait, isn't it? They turn whatever he said into an even bigger story. But what pissed me off almost more than all of that is that the BBC News decided to turn it into so this is after everything. They then went and sent a news crew up to the Snake Pass and reported on where the incident happened, used Adam's facts and figures, which weren't the ones that came out of court, and turned it into a whole big story. Around what? What had happened? It was almost
just to backtrack a little bit for those of you who don't know what happened. You posted a video on Facebook, was it?
Yeah, it was Facebook and Instagram. Like a little clip,
a spirited clip drive on the external camera on an R8.
It was a 40-second clip, and it was an external GoPro, some right-hand drive R8 British one. GoPro was here, looking down the side of the car. You couldn't see inside the cabin. And I had a mic in the engine bay listening to the wonderful V10.
No speedo in view or anything?
No. And it was going along the Snake Pass, which at the time I didn't realise was the biggest hotspot and continues to be, I think, one of the biggest hotspots in the UK. Because there's actually, I think, a lot of bike accidents and a few fatalities there, more so than cars. But, you know, you do get people that probably do drive idiotically up there. Little did I know, yes, I'm driving along there. Yes, I am a little bit over the speed limit, but there's cars. I'm not once going over the other side of the road. I'm not driving at all recklessly. But they'd use that clip and they'd sent it off to their top forensic scientist, who only gets involved in, who up to that point had only got involved in massive accidents where there's been multiple fatalities.
Yes. The police weren't even in attendance. Nothing. You didn't get stopped there. It was just, there's a video on Facebook. Let's rewind. Which could have been shot at any number of frames per second.
It could have, yes. And they never knew about any of. And this is something.
And of course, you speed stuff up to make it look like you go faster anyway.
Of course, to make up for the lack of talent. But the funny thing is, or not funny at all, but the ironic thing with that particular clip and the trouble I got in over that was, it wasn't me showing the world how fast I can or can't go on the road. It was actually, and it was in the description, something like celebrating the wonderful V10. It was just about listening to the V10 soundtrack and going through the gears and listening. It was, if you watch the clip, and this is what happened in court when we got to the final bit, and the judge, because all you got to understand, judges go through, they get thrown whatever the case is there and then, they read through it. They don't know much about what's going on or anything until that point. So they either hate you, and most of the time they do. And I couldn't even have a legal representative in the court, because at that point I'd run out of money and I'd run out of motivation and anything. I was just like, let's just get this done. Whatever happens, happens. So of course, judges don't take, they frown upon anyone turning up without any legal support, but I couldn't afford. So instantly he didn't like me. But as we went through the case, and as he was showing the actual clip in question on the screen in the courtroom, he looked at it, looked down at me, looked at the police who were there in a big massive room, and then said, "Can we replay that?" And we watched it again. He said, "If I wasn't aware, if I wasn't told, like if I didn't have the numbers in front of me that have proved that Mr. Achilles was marginally over the speed limit, I'm really struggling to understand why we've spent 10 months of our time on this clip." And it's just like, yeah.
But the bit that destroys me is you still got all of that money, not necessarily the fine that was issued, all your costs, the stress, the absolute horror of it all. And none of it was from their own information. Because I see, like, just look on YouTube now, Wheelie Highway America, whatever, and these kids they do like 180 mile an hour on the highway, because you're not allowed to incriminate yourself using your own video. I believe in certain states. That's the
right.
Maybe in the comments below you correct me on that. So I fail to see how this culture is gonna. Well, I don't fail to see. I dread to predict where this culture of, oh, Doris has got a dash cam, you overtook, and it looks like you're going faster. Yeah. So what we've done is this. No one actually got hurt, no one got injured, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Which is the case in your situation. Nothing happened at all.
Yeah.
But we're still going to do, and the judge still gave you 6 points when there was no actual evidence at all?
Well, I think his reasoning for it, and you know, mate, at that point when he said I wasn't going to lose my license, and I'd been through, I would have taken 6 points, and I did take it all day long, because for me that was 6 points on a clean license that I'd had clean for over 10 years, and it meant that I could still continue to be a chauffeur, and I could still continue to get cars and do what I do on YouTube. But obviously, knowing that I had to be very careful for the next 3 or 4 years, whatever it is now. But at that point, mate, it was like it was almost a gift. But yeah, looking back on it. But his reasoning for giving me 6 and not 3 or cancelling it altogether was that initially I didn't accept that I'd been speeding. I basically.
So what?
But the problem and the problem with that and why I didn't initially was because, number one, what they were saying I was speeding was wrong, and I knew it was wrong, and it was not the right number, or even close to the right number. And number two was they initially said that I was reckless driving because. Remember the jump? They said their expert, their amazing expert that would have cost you guys and us loads of money to pay taxpayers' money. This incredible expert guy that came in, who told them categorically that I jumped an R8 along the Snake Pass. Now, if you've been along the Snake Pass, I mean, I've only been down that once, and I'm definitely not going back in a hurry. It's not that great a road, to be fair. Is where do you jump an R8 along there? You just don't. You don't. I'll tell you where. At Longcross Studios, which are in Chobham, where there is a famous jump that a lot of journalists have used over the year. That's where I jumped it, and that's where I said I jumped it. But anyway, that's why at the initial, when I got the initial paperwork, I denied everything, because it was like, you're doing this, you're doing it. No, I wasn't. It's a lie. Yeah. But just the legal, we talked about, you can't believe news, you can't believe... the legal system, unfortunately, I know you guys, or 44 Teeth, do a lot with. It's a very tricky system.
Yeah, but it just the injustice of it all. When you can go on now and find multiple examples on Instagram of actual really reckless, really bad. Yeah, thank you, mate. For those, two's come off.
Oh, that's all right.
For those of you just listening, Joe's just handed me a section of his Yorkie. I'll eat that when I stop talking.
Sorry.
Why choose that? Why choose you? Why? And there's so many. You could search now on your phone. You'd find 50 examples within 10 minutes of actual really bad behaviour. Yep. But no, it's not. It's fine.
And but where does it? Nothing's happened to anyone.
No. So where does that line go? Like, where does it go? And this is why, again, it stops me riding spiritedly on the road.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is Mavis to have a dash cam and get a dislike for you.
Yeah.
And like, there's that cycling twat that goes around London and just like just is the most fair enough. He might record someone on the phone or doing something slightly wrong, but it's his life's mission to send them to prison. He's got on his Twitter bio. I think I've had
Cycling Mikey, is it?
Yeah, I think I had arguments with him years ago on Twitter, but I'm not on Twitter anymore. I might go back now. Elon Musk owns it, but anyway. And it's they have no trait. How can just a member of public go, well, actually, I'm going to do this guy? It really baffles me. I'm sorry, but if the law is going to get involved, then the law need to gather all the evidence. It should all be fair enough. In the case of an accident, you can use a dash cam to explain what happened. But nobody should be prosecuted for speeding or whatever. No. If unless it's particularly unless it causes injury. If it causes injury, maybe, but it's you were going a bit fast.
Well, the injury thing, that's what I mean. Don't get me wrong. If what I had done had caused an accident and again, this is where in the courtroom, we discovered, I say we because I was there with my best friend Aaron and a couple other people, we discovered some very relevant information in the courtroom 10 months after everything had gone on. When the judge started questioning why this had all happened in the first place, why so much money and time had been spent on it, suddenly it was, there was a fatality and Mr. Achilles was a suspect. What? Sorry? And I'm and the judge looked at me because he could see straight away because I'm already nervous and shitting myself in the courtroom, sweating everything. And he's just and he looked at me and he's like, were you aware of this? Never heard that before. So if I'm a suspect to a accident or fatality, whatever's happened, surely the first thing to do would be Derbyshire Police to get me into their questioning room and tell me that I'm a suspect to a fatality. But no, was that a knee-jerk reaction from them? Because the judge is like, why are we here? Someone was killed. What? Where's that come from? But again, then that just gets... But they're allowed to... They're
allowed to lie. They're allowed to lie and manipulate.
Then we researched it and nobody was... there's so much more to that story. Nobody was killed. There's been people that have died there, but nowhere near on the date range where I was there. Nowhere near that.
And look, every road death is very tragic, of course.
Yeah.
But I think the UK is a civilized, I thought it was, country, does a lot to protect against that. But people do it's 20 now everywhere in London. 20 now everywhere in London. Oh my god! And it's to ride a motorcycle at 20 miles an hour. It's actually pretty difficult. Constantly feathering the clutch. Yeah. Anyway, all because of safety. Maybe a bit of environment. Safety.
No, I reckon. I bet you it's worse for the environment at 20 than it is at 30.
Probably.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't. You wouldn't be allowed to present those statistics.
No, of course not.
But then on the flip side of that, you've got 100,000 people died recently who shouldn't have died.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a fuck about them.
Oh, you mean in wars and...
No, in excess deaths over the last few years.
Oh, right. Oh, I see what you mean.
So you're like, well, whatever the reason is for that, nobody knows. But surely somebody should be bloody looking at it. Rather than spending billions on trying to go, let's save... Look, again.
But again, it's just... It's
God forbid if anyone I knew or my friend gets hit by a car or my kid or whatever, Jesus Christ, horrific. Yeah. If it can be avoided.
But the reality is that's unfortunately life. I could leave here today and get cleaned up as I pulled out the junction.
You could.
That's life. And obviously reducing those risks is a good thing to a point, but I think it comes down to your bottle top down there. It comes down to us being forced into driving EVs, which a car was always been a reliable mode of transport that we use to make our lives better. An EV, in most cases, makes our life more miserable. You using that bottle with that lid makes your life more miserable. You going through a 20-mile-an-hour village makes your life more miserable. That's all I can see most of these things doing is making our lives more miserable. It's not about what they sell it to be about, the safety and the environmental. It's in most.
What do you think what do you think the reason for all that is then? It can't be just, hey, we're going to make everyone miserable.
I honestly don't know. I think it's a big, like most things, it's a form of control, isn't it? It's making us all abide by more and more laws and regulations, and it's controlling and controlling and controlling. we've all seen again. I know we keep going back to it, but 2020, 2021, we've all bent over backwards and put dildos in ourselves just because the government said it was a good thing to do. And I think I don't know what the end goal is, and I dread to think. I don't have any kids. I know you do, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to. I'm kind of glad that I'm an older man and I'm not going to be around for another 60 years because I just dread to think where it's all going and what the plan is.
But isn't that such a sad thing to say?
It is a sad thing to say. It really is. But I think, the last few years have made that much more of a reality, haven't they? Like
and this is why I will never forget.
Yeah.
And I don't care if people are like, oh, you need to get over it, whatever. You get over it.
Yeah.
Poo-poo face. But I can't forget.
No.
And I want to know. And I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess my view on it is I think a lot of these silly little measures come in just because one industry, one sector, one company, one government, whatever, is just taking little bits of advantage here and there.
Yeah.
And it culminates. I don't think COVID, the reaction, was I don't think it was a whole planned thing, personally. I think it's too difficult. People can't even coordinate to fix a fucking pothole down the end of the road. I don't know how.
You're almost giving them too much credit.
Yeah, as we said earlier, people are morons.
Yeah.
I think whatever happened, however it got out, however it was made, I think it was made in a lab. I think it was made, and I think it was accidentally potentially released. Whatever. This is speculation. I'm not saying this for a fact. This is what I think may have happened. And then one thing leads to another, and it's like, okay, we've got this. Oh, hang on, we can make some money out of this. We can make a cure for this, and we can do this, and we can do that. And then it just snowballs into the. It feels like, I think society and life, Western society and life at the moment, feels like the house is on fire.
Yeah.
And the last few greedy fuckers are just running in there and just trying to grab as much stuff as they can before the whole thing burns down.
Yeah.
And they don't. And as long as they've got all their stuff out and they've made their bed, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because they've got an island somewhere and they can breeze through the rest of it. Whereas us and you guys watching, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I think unless something radically changes, I just see people getting more and more miserable. I see people getting more and more demotivated. Like staff turnover, people's jobs. Everyone's just like, oh, I'm just going to leave.
I don't know anyone that's happy in a traditional job nowadays.
No, because what's happened? Like what the heck? This is a lot of it came from the response to COVID.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you could have spent your life earnings saving up to. You want to be a restaurateur, and you've spent 40 years shoveling shit to get this restaurant going, and it's like, no, you can't have it anymore.
Yeah.
You shut. Oh, but hang on, this is my dream. No, get fucked.
Yeah.
Can't have it.
Yeah.
So that's proved to everyone.
Yeah.
Why bother?
Yeah. Or
why bother? Yeah. You might sort of turn into a selfish prick.
Yeah.
And if you're on a low income, I don't blame people for sitting on benefits and not doing anything about it, because to motivate yourself to earn $5,000 more a year and have to go to work every day. What's the fucking point of that?
Yeah.
And it's insane that our system allows that. And then by the time you get to, 52 grand a year now, which, let's face it, is not a particularly high salary when you look at how much everything fucking costs. If you're paying $6,000 a year just to insure your bike, you're fucked.
That was a high salary in 2019, but it's not anymore.
And now that's the high tax rate. So now you're like, well, so there's a gap. What is there to incentivize anyone to do?
Yeah.
And oh my God. And anyone, all the political parties, they're all the fucking same.
Yeah.
They're just wear different coloured ties.
Yeah, just packaged differently. A bit like can or bottle.
Packaged differently, but what is it? There's a phrase about like the government. The party changes, but the government is always the same.
Yeah.
Because it's the same people that have worked behind the scenes for 30 years.
Yeah.
Putting the straw.
It's just got a different badge on.
Yeah.
They're puppeteers.
No, well, they're the same because all the civil servants and stuff stay there, don't they?
Yes,
it's just that main
front line, essentially.
Yeah, and if you're a globalist type person, then the two main parties in this country are pretty much the same.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
Which is coming up to an election. What's your thoughts on the election?
Oh, mate, honestly,
Do you give a fuck?
No, not at all.
Because it's not going to make any difference to your life,
and that's
right?
the thing. Again, I feel really bad. Not bad, but I think again, mum and dad would always be like, Joe, you've got to vote, you've got to vote, you've got to vote, and I get the importance of that. And it's like if you're raising money for charity, if you've only got £1, that's going to make a difference, whatever, and the vote's good. But again, in my head now, I'm just like, whoever's going to come in is going to do a shit job and is going to continue to make our lives more miserable. And I don't believe any of, we're going to give you this. No, you're not. You're just not. You're doing that to get in. And then when you get in, you'll make an excuse that you can't give whatever you need to give.
And why say it now? You've been here for 14 years. Why don't you do it? Why haven't you done it? Actually, the motorist is our friend. Fuck off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, speaking of charity, you just touched on there. Just reminded me of another thing that gripes me.
I keep wandering away from.
It's all right. You're incredibly loud.
Oh yeah. Hello.
When you go into McDonald's,
yes,
and you pay for your food out of your hard-earned, tax-raped savings for your Happy Meal.
Yep.
And then it's like, do you want to round it up?
Oh
do you want to donate to charity?
No.
What? No, I don't. What charity?
Yeah.
No, I fucking don't. What charity is that?
Yeah. It's a McDonald's charity.
Exactly.
It's a Baron von Grumble motorbike
it just says
collection charity. Charity, yeah. But do you know what's worse about that as well is they're picking on. That's one of the
low-income people.
And that's
who eat at McDonald's.
You go to like a rundown town or city in the UK that financially isn't doing that well.
Ascot or somewhere.
Yeah, Ascot, somewhere like that. Windsor.
Bloody Windsor.
Yeah. But you go to and they're full of betting shops and betting shops and McDonald's and Poundlands and all that. And you just think and these betting shops are there to strip the last bit of cash out of these people and it's the same with McDonald's, but it's exactly the same with that. And it's because actually, as we all know, rich people are tight fuckers and won't give you. But they know that if they ask a working class person who has maybe got a family and maybe
who has suffered themselves,
who's
right?
suffered
That's
themselves,
ultimately what it's about,
and is on the sort of what's it called, breadline, anyway, is maxing out their wage. I've been there for many years. You're living month by month. And they're nice and civil enough to go, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I don't mind adding a couple of quid extra.
Yeah. I'm sure they know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I'm sure they know. It's what? Where's that come from? And but mate, I have to say, we are very lucky in the UK. I spent some time in the States earlier this year. Not just the States, because we know the States, it's a great country. There's so much to see out there, whatever. There's so much going on. But, and that's expensive. The States in general is expensive, but I was in Vegas for a week with BF Goodrich for the Mint 400 rally, which was an awesome experience. But luckily I was there with BF Goodrich because my expenses were being paid because...
Those whores are well expensive.
Wow. On top of those...
A soapy tit wank in one of those places now.
Yeah,
I mean, inflation...
astronomical, and then the tips...
Cost of living crisis...
Well, just, mate, honestly... Breakfast in the hotel. Of course, it's not included. You can't get breakfast in a hotel because, that's just normal. Why would you have? No. You can go to a number of bistros but you have to walk through. So it was a big, brand new, modern hotel. Came downstairs to the reception area to go to breakfast. You could go to a number of bistros or whatever they called them, but to get to them, you had to walk through parlours and parlours of betting machines.
So outside the
in the same. Oh, you never go outside. You don't want any fresh. No air.
Right. Okay.
Like you could get the feeling
in like the big
skies,
like a big shopping mall,
massive shopping malls. Yeah. But I'm in Vegas.
I'd love to go.
I'm in Vegas, so of course I knew what I was. But then you go and sit down, and every morning I had an omelette. It was a really good omelette, but it was an omelette about that big because it was supersized, and a good coffee, and including once they add the sales tax and the tip that's 22.5%, unless you want to pay 27 or 32%, because you can if you want, and all the rest of it. It was about a $55 breakfast every morning, which with the current exchange rate is about 46 quid for an omelette and a coffee in a mall. It wasn't like a bling. It was just a normal Like there was nothing. The food was okay, but it was just a
I saw you coming, mate.
40.
This boy loves an omelette.
Yeah. But no, and then just everything out there was so eye-wateringly expensive.
I would have thought America was. I had the impression that America was cheap. I mean, I've been to New York a couple of times and San Diego once, but never anywhere outside of that.
But how long? Like a while ago, or
it was quite a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been a couple of times, and I think when I went there, sort of 2011, 12 or something, it was expensive, but nothing like I thought. But when I've been back in the last couple of years, I've been over there. Every time I go back, I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's expensive. And then you forget that everything has an extra tax and an extra tip and an extra, and you're just like, whoa.
City tax, state tax, federal tax,
mug tax,
British tax, Tuesday tax, temperature tax.
Air. How much air did you consume while you were here, sir?
Yeah, you're a little heavier than average, so the wear on the
Look at the size
sofa.
Of your head.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Big head tax.
I'm terribly sorry, sir. We're gonna have to tax that.
But yeah, I don't even know. How we
charity, eh?
That's how we got there. Charity, yeah. But no, you the world is. I mean, the world. We are trying to put the world to rights, but.
I don't think you can. I mean, I think, and I'll just say this actually. I got in a lot of trouble from, not a lot of trouble, but there were some people on the last podcast going, for an interview, didn't have talk a lot. I was like, this isn't an interview. A podcast is
it not?
Discussion. He's gone. No, see, and that's it. And then you put it off, and now it's going to spill. There.
Oh, I've just weed myself.
Now Joe's got piss on his pants. and that little bit.
Just.
I know it's a minor thing in life, but it's one of those things that I keep forgetting. I think, I'm really going to enjoy this ice cold smoothie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's annoying.
But then someone said to me that they really liked it because they keep on losing lids. I'm like, what kind of psychopath loses a lid often on a drink?
that is weird, isn't it?
Like once you've finished, you have your sip, you put the lid on.
Yeah, or if you know you're going to finish it, you just throw the lid in the bin and finish it and put that in the recycling. Depending on where you
another gripe about recycling.
Yeah,
so
most of it ends up in
Well, for the best part of 6 years, I was recycling, washing up all of my microwave meal for one lonely old man meals that I have. And the little plastic pots, like, okay, I'll clean them all up, put them in recycling. It's fucking years and years. And then they kept putting, I live in a block of flats, and they kept putting like notices saying, be aware of your recycling or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. Yeah. And eventually they were like, please stop putting these microwavable containers in the recycling. Oh. And I was like, what? And the county on the other side of the line, I'm on the border, used to take all that. This one didn't. And it's like, well, what's...
Why?
I don't... Wrong type of plastic for their processing facility. So you're just like, do you know what?
Yeah, I'm trying to help.
I was trying to help for so long.
Yeah.
Now I'm afraid to say, I just throw it all in the big fucking...
Yeah, but, Sorry. It's funny what you just said then, because...
Because you can't win.
You can't win. But, so Lou, my other half, she is... I always say that she's very by the book with a lot of things, especially compared to me. As you probably gathered on this podcast so far, that I'm not so much by the book. But she's very good with things like that, and she'll clean out. I mean, the packet goes into the recycling cleaner than it ever was when it was first made. It's so clean. But then my argument to that is, how much energy have we used to clean, not just our energy, I mean like as in the water, the wastage, the
chemical soap,
all that to clean. Is that ever gonna, like, is it a false economy?
And most of it, and we've all seen them driving down the road, those big fucking lorries just blowing the...
there's my clean robot.
Oh, look, it's so clean. There's a recycling on the way home. On the way home, there's a recycling centre on the A31 between Alton and Farnham, and the road either side of it is just covered in plastic shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, And it's like that for years. And you know when they do the grass, they cut the grass and turns into shred. It looks so disgusting. And it's so obvious that all that litter comes from that recycling centre, but no one fucking does anything about it.
Yeah.
No one fucking does anything about it. It's like, oh, it's not us. No. Oh, really? So just people throwing away skip bags, are they, out the window of their BMW 340? Are they?
Yeah.
You know, fucking hell.
Yeah.
But it's just, anyway.
Yeah.
I digress.
We do.
So, motorbikes and cars then.
Yeah, we're coming back to that. Enough of politics.
Well,
what's this going to be titled? Politics with Joe Achilles.
I don't think it's going to be titled anything.
No. Yeah.
I do have an interesting, and you guys can help me with this. Actually, I do have an interesting thought, and comes back to your motorcycling quandary.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to ask you a question actually, and I'll see if you see what your response is.
Yeah.
Imagine this is a bit of market research.
Okay.
So we've established that you to ride your bike it's almost what, 800 quid a ride, isn't it? Something stupid.
Yeah.
So if how do I put this? If you had a chance of owning a bike that was maintained, owning is a loose word in the same way that you own something that's got a PCPD on it, that's maintained, looked after, insured, all of those things, and it would cost you £300 a month.
Yep.
To come and ride whenever you want, as long as you book it in.
Yep.
Does that sound appealing to you?
Yes.
And you can keep it for like weeks at a time, like booked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a timeshare.
It's that's very interesting you say that, because that's exactly the word I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So because we're taking on I've got an opportunity to take on a big space, and it's too big for us.
Yeah.
So to help cover the costs, I was like, no, we need to fill this space with something. And I was thinking about, we might do a bit of bike storage as well, actually.
Yeah.
But for mainly track bikes, I don't want people to come down and start taking stuff out every day. But it was like, okay, well, what else can we offer? Because I'm sure that motorcycling is now, unfortunately, sad to say it, is really heading solely in the direction of wealthy lifestyle experience, leisure. It's not, nobody these days can afford to go and buy a bike and commute on it
in the UK.
In the UK, to save money. Like it's just not something. Scooters in town, sure, but it's not something that is those are the dying breed of hardcore winter all like weather bikers. So we're getting to this world where a new superbike costs 25,000 quid, and that's for an average superbike. You know, some of the Panigale are whatever, 40,000 quid, 50,000 quid if you want to put a bloody exhaust on it. So it's becoming a super expensive thing. It's nobody can afford to do.
Yep.
And I was like, well, if I bought a bike, let's say I bought a bike S1000 RR, 20 grand. You are in a group with 4 other people, say, so 5 of you have this bike, you own it.
Yeah.
Inverted commas, you own it. You just book in your time. Yep. Sure, December, no one's really going to want to ride it, whatever. But it's looked after. You've done your maths because you don't have to pay insurance. You don't have to do that. We can drop it off to your house, have it for a week, either ride it back, whatever, come and pick it up.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think...
And you could still make use of them in the winter months. You could do road tour, or you could
to Spain or something,
Yeah, ship them out to Spain.
Yeah. So it's like a timeshare for bikes. Yeah. And because also if it was a new S1000, it's like, you know, every quarter it's like upgrade quarter, like like a video game, and then it's like, right, we're actually going to put some Dimag wheels in this, or we're going to put some new brake calipers on it, make some cool videos making it up. Because if you can't afford that 8 grand a year, which is what it's going to cost you to ride that bike, at best 8 grand a year, I'd actually say year one it's probably going to cost you 12. 12 grand, £1,000 a month. When you turn up to the bike cafe on a brand new S1000 or Panigale, they don't have to know it's not yours. No. If you want to go and impress a girl, or if you want to buy a bike without your wife knowing, you know, it's like, I think we need to think of these leisure tools, motorcycles. I don't want to think like this, but I think everyone needs to start coming to the conclusion that these high-end superbikes, it's just uneconomical for most people. But you still want to have that experience, and a friend of mine said, well, why don't you just do the rental? Just rent them to anyone. I was like, well, I'm sure that's an option as well. But the fact that it's your bike, because so much about motorcycling is about engaging with that machine that you had an experience on, and that is your bike and that is your thing, and you drove that to the Pyrenees, you did this, you went and did that track day on it. It's a bonding.
But then what if the guy you're sharing it with bins it, or
well, it's insured, isn't it? I mean, you'd have to. They'd obviously. I don't know about the finer details. We'd have to work it out.
No, but I like the idea
as a concept.
It's a concept. It's something. It sounds similar to a lot of. When I lived in London when I was much younger, there was a couple of supercar clubs that opened like that. I can't remember what they're called, but they seem to be very successful. But then I don't know if they still hang around. A lot of those were money laundering.
Yeah,
there's always like supercar showrooms that were all involved somehow in money laundering, and but yeah, I remember, and again, I think going back to what you're saying, nobody can afford to spend 10 grand a year. The majority of people that do, they probably can afford. But I think, again, post 2020, 2021, where we've all tightened down the hatches, and we've stopped. And I know this from the bike. I'm quite close to a lot of friends, and I used to be heavily involved in the bicycle world, whether it's high-end mountain bikes or high-end road bicycles. That the last few years have been a big struggle for a lot of those manufacturers. COVID was a big peak. And then like 2020, and since then it's just been like that.
Well, I mean, how often can you justify buying a £10,000 bicycle?
We can't, but I think so. They've seen that, and they, people on the ground, salespeople,
the morons that we were talking about earlier.
that have got these regular customers that every year without fail they come in and upgrade to the latest and greatest mountain bike that's 10 grand. They've stopped doing that not because they can't afford to that end, but just because they're like
they morally object to being ripped off.
And it's exactly the same with me. And although I couldn't afford to have that, but in the same time, even if I was earning twice as much money or 3 times as much, and I could definitely afford to, I'd be like, I just could not have that sitting there dripping money, like just watching them literally pound. It would be like £50 notes coming out the exhaust every half an hour. Yeah. So I can't afford that. I'm being robbed.
It's wasteful.
It's wasteful. Yeah.
It's wasteful.
It is wasteful.
Yeah. Sorry, your chair's a bit squeaky.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I hope it isn't coming across.
Well, it probably is.
Yeah. That's not my bones. That's it. Yeah. Chris's chair.
I mean, I've got some WD-40 around here somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I could actually. Yeah. I mean, I actually need to take my trousers off at some point because it's getting really quite sweaty. But it might smell a bit. So. But yeah, I thought that. I think. I'm not trying to sell it, but it's just it's an interesting, like, how much would one pay to have access to a brand new superbike? It would just get rotated every year, and then we'd probably keep the bike, do some content on it, make it into a track bike, sell it, whatever. It's like it makes sense to me.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you would spend for something like that, or if you think it's a.
I mean, look, insurance. It's £300 a month.
Yeah,
which is almost the price I was thinking about actually doing it for.
Yes. Yeah. So you're basically getting everything for about the cost of the average.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the insurance company would have some things to say to me, like ride has to be over 25 with whatever.
Has to be over 50, but below 60 has to have 1,000 years of riding experience. No claims bonus.
Yeah.
Live in a cave that has Fort Knox as a garage
and zero testosterone in their body. Yeah.
But if you are an insurance company out there and you want to help me get a bike, then please, by all means. Classic. Sorry about that.
So,
you ran out of things to say? That's
I never run out of things to say.
Yeah.
I'm just calming my mind.
Okay.
Have you got anything to say to me?
Oh, well, not really, but it's nice to be down here. It's nice to see you as always. And it's lovely to see. I like coming in here and having a look around, smelling the bikes, and that is just
the R1. That's I'm just getting that ready to go to Hedeth. I'm driving down there in the van. Oh, I love driving down through Europe. That is something we could talk about. Like, European, particularly the French standard of not only driving but the standard of their roadways, the whole way their system is set up and structured.
Yeah.
Yes, some of the toll roads are quite expensive, but bloody hell, is it worth it?
But you don't. Again, what we've just
and you don't need to actually go on the toll road.
You don't need to go on the toll road, but you don't feel like you're getting ripped off. Because I don't mind spending money on something like a toll road that's not cheap, if I feel like I've had a really nice drive because there's no traffic and the road, the surface is like
It's immaculate.
perfect. So I sit there going, okay, well, that was just another 20 quid. But wow, wasn't that an enjoyable drive? Rather than if that was in the UK. And that's exactly it, isn't it? You don't mind spending if you feel like you're getting something in return. And going through Europe, I mean, again, I say it a lot on my channel to mostly people in cars because that's the majority of my audience. But I think last year when I did my Alps trip on the GS, I gained quite a few motorbike people or people that come out of the woodwork who are car people, because let's face it, it's a kind of crossover, isn't it, with a lot of people. And it was just a whole different, as soon as you get that bike or that car off UK soil on the train or on the ferry, you get over the other side, do a few boring hours, but progressive hours.
It's still better.
It's still better. But once you get somewhere, then that's when if you're just going to do one trip a year, just go and take your car or your bike to somewhere that it deserves, somewhere that you deserve. Go and spend a few days in the Alps or in the Pyrenees or somewhere special. Because honestly, nothing. The one thing it does do that I think is a negative is it does make you realise that the roads we have here and everything we have here is not great, and the traffic and everything. But
I'm just not interested in riding here anymore.
No,
to be honest, the risks are too high.
Yeah.
The enjoyment is just not there. The weather we don't often have either.
No,
the road surface, problem today. The road surface is a disgrace.
Yeah,
absolute disgrace. And there's also something about, and this isn't the UK's fault, is being somewhere that speaks a foreign language is just exciting. Yeah. It's like, I'm on an adventure. The mileage might be just the same going to the Alps as it is to going to Carlisle.
Yeah.
But I'd much prefer to be in the Alps than Carlisle, just because it makes you feel that you've done a journey, you've accomplished something, and you get that real satisfaction of, I did the tunnel and I've gone through France and a bit of Belgium, Germany, and now wow, I'm really excited and moving on. The older I get,
that feels like adventure, doesn't it?
Completely,
yeah,
completely. And when I went to Bosnia and Serbia and Romania and stuff a couple of years ago on that permission to talk thing.
Yeah, I love that.
And it was just, it's like, oh my God, it's so good, particularly out when you get into places like that. It's like the rest of Europe was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And the sense of freedom and adventure, and everyone's still really lovely, really kind. You got some insurance, again, issues with green cards and stuff, because it's not an EU-based country, but blah, blah, blah. You can sort it out, and it's well worth doing. Honestly, I think Bosnia is one of the nicest places I've ever ridden a motorcycle, and I'm sure in a car it would be just as good.
Wow. Yeah.
And the people were so lovely. So yeah, if you do get a chance to go abroad on any of your vehicles,
do it.
Just do it before you can't.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
stay away from Switzerland.
And COVID taught me that, how much I miss travelling.
Yeah.
I had to stay in this country for 2.5 years, banned from travelling outside of it.
Yeah,
fuck you.
Yeah,
fuck you. Couldn't work. Couldn't travel for work. Couldn't go and do any launches. Couldn't do our mega test. Couldn't do anything. All because I was like, well, no, I don't want to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. You did the right thing. Just going back to the countries, I just said quickly at Switzerland, and I know that's a sore subject for you.
It's not.
Yeah, well, as the annoying thing about Switzerland is there are some of the most beautiful passes and roads in the world, undeniably in Switzerland. But the Swiss, especially the police and the politicians, don't like anyone having fun on bikes or cars. And when I say fun, I'm not talking about reckless driving or going twice the speed limit. I mean, if you're on a motorbike and you're smiling, then there's something you're not doing. There's something you're not doing that's right. So just, if you are going to go to Switzerland, behave like an absolute saint. Because I know you've learnt the hard way. Yeah. And I know a lot of people, actually very recently, there's been a few stories and cases of people, and they are on it. And I see a lot of these road tours, these idiots from over here, they're venturing abroad, which scares me. And they're screaming through Switzerland, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious me. You're not going to get away with it out there. So, yeah, just be careful with Switzerland is what I would say. Everywhere, be careful, but Switzerland especially.
Yeah. So going back to the YouTube stuff.
Yes.
So I'm sure that we've having some conversations off camera about what it really is like being, you are a full-time YouTuber now. So how does that work for you? Are you happy you made that choice? Is it hard? Is it piece of piss? Are you loving life every day?
I think the grass is always greener with everything you do in life. And I'm very grateful to do what I do today. I think if I looked at what I do today 10 years ago when I worked as a chauffeur, or 12, 13 years ago when I was in the fashion industry and I hated my job and most of my life, I would look at this and go, wow, you are the luckiest man in the world. Firstly, I've worked very hard to get where I am, probably 10 plus years of making YouTube videos, majority of them as a hobby, and investing so much time and money into it. Yes, you have to invest a lot of money into it in the early days, especially. And it was a hobby. Now, I think the COVID years were a bit of a false economy, like with so many businesses. I was forced to shut my chauffeuring business down then because you couldn't use it, couldn't do it. And I was kind of forced into then going full-time into YouTube, which I guess February, March is when I kind of officially did full-time YouTube in 2021. But so I was forced into it in one sense, but at the same time I saw it as an opportunity. I was like, okay, well, I've got to grab it by the horns and go. And 22 was a good year financially. And I thought, this is good. If I can maintain this and maybe continue to grow a little bit, this is great. I'm going to be, but the last year and a half, I lost 18 months, 2023 or last year, this year, it's just steadily not declining, but I can't seem to get the traction that I used to get. And I don't know if that's because my videos, maybe people are bored of me, maybe or undoubtedly there's lots more content out there to watch. I think people's attention spans, I like my long form content. This is a very long form content video, but I like my 20, 25 minute videos, which I know is very similar to what you do on 44 Teeth and stuff. And I think those are the videos that appeal to people that are actually maybe thinking about buying a car or a bike. They're the ones that are like, I need to watch this video and learn as much as I can. Whereas the short form stuff, yes, it gets the numbers for these brands and manufacturers, but it does nothing in my opinion, nothing at all to like, if, oh yeah, we use this influencer, he got 1 billion views for the new Ducati. Great. But did any one of those 1 billion views attribute to a sale, or even no? It was just because it was, you know what I mean? It's like look at this, I'm pointing my finger at, or doing this, or it's so anyway. I've gone off. It's great. I hate it. It's great. I hate it because these PR companies are so stupid, most of them, that they just believe that this short form nonsense is doing anything. The thing is, it's getting them exposure and it's getting them the numbers, so then they can feed back and go, we got those we got the numbers
that you asked for.
But is it actually doing anything? What they don't, and they discredit the likes of our videos that are 25 minutes long. A view on a 25-minute video is, I would say, 1,000 times more, 100,000 times more valuable than a view on a TikTok short or something, because it means nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
And most of them are over before you've had time to skip on to the next bit.
And mate, when you start, you then look through 1,000 of them. That first one you've looked at, it already had no insignificance. It's already insignificant.
But isn't it that is terrifying? I get stuck in it all the time.
Oh,
and when did Instagram, by the way, turn into this? Because Instagram was a place of beautiful imagery that you could sit and appreciate. Like, if Instagram was real art, when it was first around, it's like the equivalent of having a Monet watercolor on your wall, and you could sit there and stare at it for hours and be lost in thought. And I'm being a bit dramatic here, but if someone's creating artistry, which Instagram, that's what it was about, a visual platform, like, you appreciate like everything. You can get lost in those pictures, and it's emotive, and you'd be like, oh my god, that's so fucking brilliant. And as time has gone on, it's now this just condensed pile of fucking shit. Of reel after reel of nothing beautiful, very few. Like, some of the people I follow, beautiful content, never really get to see it, do you? You open that page up and it's just that Hocteur woman talking shit. Fucking that Hocteur bird. My God, the amount. Like, first of all, that's quite amusing, First of all,
everywhere.
but it's like it's such a good example of what I hate about the modern way we have to live. First of all, yeah, it's a funny joke. It's a little bit adult, to be honest. If kids are fucking looking at that shit, like what are they talking about? Oh, I'm spitting on an erect cock, ready to wank it off, suck it off. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Right. Okay. So it's questionable morality. Yeah. Questionable.
But there's a lot of that.
There is. But Instagram, family-friendly platform. We're not on YouPorn, whatever. Yeah. There are other sites are available.
You only see people having sex. Whereas on Instagram, you see people dying and getting thrown out of cars and all these horrible things.
All these horrible, horrific things.
Yeah. But anyway, it's really difficult to filter all that. I mean, unless, of course, you talk about vaccines then we can filter it straight away. In fact, we can shut you down. But if you're showing like a few deaths, it's difficult.
Yeah. What is a death?
What's a death? Sorry.
But so that hopped to her. Yeah. So she did not. That was probably, she was out on a drunk night out, said something silly, and it's funny. And she's coming across as all right person, right? Whatever. But she didn't ask for that level of exposure. No. She's now, that is her life forever. Yeah. Forever. She's never asked for it. Yeah, maybe she should have been more attentive and not done something to these fucking pricks that go, oh, would you want to shag me or have this BMW? Oh, that's all that comes. Yeah, but that's all that comes up of it. And I just find it so disgraceful. And I've constantly, every time, the first 20 or 30 times I saw it, I was like, okay. And I was like, it's getting a bit much now. So now I'm like, no, I'm not interested. No. I'm not interested. And it's just constantly still there. Yeah. So this algorithmic penetration is so unpredictable because I'm trying to get penetration on multiple things, and it's hard to get deep penetration, obviously, if you're stunted in that department. Yeah, of course. But I'm being shown stuff I don't want to be shown stuff of, and just because I liked something that was talking about a girl's star sign, like a joke or something, then it's like, oh, this guy likes girls' star sign jokes or whatever, or wife jokes or husband jokes or whatever. Yeah. And it's just, Instagram's just turned into this absolute cesspit. And the point I'm getting to, a long way round, is the attention span of everyone, including myself, I find it really distressing, has gone from long form content of, oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm a bit of a rush now. I've got loads more to watch, into literally 5 seconds now. Yeah. I think it's about 5 seconds of, if something hasn't entertained you on Instagram, maybe even 1 to 2 seconds realistically before you go, nah. And then you just get stuck in this loop of, and then you have to go, oh my God.
Yeah, you look over the tea bag.
The tea's cold.
It's like soil. You're like, oh, how long's that been in there? Wait, what's going? Yeah.
So and it's just it feeds into everyone. All these young people who don't know what to do for work anymore, and they want to quit their job and going, oh, everyone's constantly that way of living their life in those short 5-second blips of dopamine. What's in it for them to go outside and actually struggle to create satisfaction? Because they're never going to put up with the struggle long enough to achieve anything. No. And that is what's destroying everything, because nobody wants to commit to a job for 10 years. Oh, no. Why not? I have something else. What? It's just this constant, oh, I think I'll be better off somewhere else. Oh, I think I'm going to change my mind. Look, I change my mind quite a lot, but one thing I have learned is that satisfaction comes from doing something really fucking difficult. Yeah. If it's easy, you're not satisfied. You might as well be playing a video game on easy mode. Like, what's the fun in that? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sort of circling around a general point here. I don't have an end culmination to it, but it's a very worrying trend. My son is 11 now, and pretty soon he's about to go into secondary school. So he's going to be of that age where everyone's on whatever, socials and stuff like that. And it's like, shit, man, you're a lovely kid. You're going to turn into a short attention span little brat who wants all this other stuff. I mean, he's pretty screwed on. Like his head's pretty straight.
But you're going to lose a lot of him overnight to this
thing.
Regardless of how good or bad a child he is. I think we do it. We know how bad
we're adults, and we can't control it. I can't control it. Yeah. I can't.
We didn't grow up with this. No. Shout out to Quad Dog.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I've just put a quad lock. I've got a quad lock wallet on my
What?
phone.
I didn't know they did a wallet.
Is yours a magnet?
Yes.
There's no
You need your wallet.
There's no money on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I did not know about that. That's very cool.
It's a bit annoying because you have to. It obscures the
okay.
lens.
Does it obscure my lens?
Probably not.
What phone are you got?
It's the worst phone I've ever bought.
Okay. Oh yeah, look, my lens is fine.
Yeah, this is the worst phone I've ever bought.
Okay.
And it's the top of the line Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, and it's the biggest piece of shit that I have ever had the misfortune of using, and I'm only still using it because it cost over £1,000, and I can't quite bring myself to throw it in the bin.
That's a high praise. Can you not sell it on eBay for like £500 or something?
Maybe. I feel sorry for the person who buys it.
Can we feel it?
The camera on it, it's got all this technology in it. It's supposed to be brilliant, like physically. But the software that runs it, this AI-driven absolute fucking shit.
It's gone too far.
It's absolute shit. And I've had public discussions with Samsung on Instagram, whatever, like how, as in DM'd and whatever. And they're like, I just want to turn all the software AI shit off.
Yeah.
It makes the photos look absolute crap. And the answer is it can't.
Okay.
So it can only process the photos in this shit horrible way.
Okay.
And honestly, I had a Samsung S10. It's way better than this.
Okay. So
It's too big. It doesn't fit in anything.
Yeah.
Does anyone use this sodding pen? Does anyone use a pen? Oh, hello. What's even the point of that? You can't put an expanded memory card in it anymore, which for content creators, I want to be able to just change memory cards.
Yeah.
You can't plug a headphone jack into it.
Yeah.
I bought some earbuds so I could do my morning walks. I do a morning walk if anyone's interested. I haven't done it for a while, actually. I've done it for ages.
Aww.
But it does. But the earbuds don't work with live video Instagram. It doesn't work. The microphone doesn't work. So the whole thing has been an absolute... So Samsung, I'm very disappointed. I've been a Samsung customer for 10 years.
Get a Pixel 8 Pro, that's what I say.
Sponsored by the Pixel 8 Pro. So where were we? I don't know, ranting, Instagram, internet.
Yeah, well, no, I think you asked me about
I was asking about YouTube.
Yeah,
so the problems...
Yeah, so I think...
May I just quickly ask that, because I remembered that. So your shadow banning, or whatever you want to call it, your crushing of content, because we get it's a graph, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It goes, oh, it's doing really well. But they all just go, every single one. It's like the gods go, he's had enough of that. Let's turn the tap off.
Yeah, and it's exactly
the same time, 24 hours basically.
Yeah, go back a few years, and you could, in the first half hour, even 10 years ago, you could kind of tell how a video was going to do to a point. But it might go that way, it might go that way. But you had an idea. But nowadays, firstly, in the first half hour, you know exactly how it's going to go. And the chance of it going off that axis is pretty much zero. So it's almost like they've gone, we're going to give you a 3.5 for this one. And we're going to sit it like that until we give you a 0, like you just said. Literally, you're going, it's still, it stopped. And then you check in 3 days and it hasn't even gained another view. Like, it's literally, where are they hiding that? And the amount of people that I get, long-term subscribers, exactly like you're just talking about with Instagram. When you started Instagram, when I went onto Instagram, whenever it was, many, many years ago, it was about looking at really cool pictures of whether it was you with motorbikes or someone with flowers or dogs or whatever. Whatever the subject you wanted to follow, you followed. And that's all you saw because they were your friends or they were the people that you chose. I want to look at them. So you look at them. You look through your feed and it's the people that you've chosen to follow. None of this other garbage that's come along with it. And I think YouTube has become the same as Instagram in that sense. The people that have subscribed, thank you very much, to your channel, my channel, whatever, they subscribe to that because they want to watch more of that content. They don't get shown it half the time. They get shown other garbage that's on there or other stuff that YouTube think they might like and other shorts and I think that's where the problem lies. And the problem with that is as soon as your said video drops off and stops, then that's it. Because whether YouTube have stopped that or whether they've stopped showing people, as soon as it's stopped, then it does just get shown. It just gets hidden.
Yep.
You never see it again.
I can't even remember the last time a video of yours came up in my feed on YouTube.
That's how bad they are.
Can't even remember. And you're my mate. They are that shit. That
Literally, yeah.
it's gone. Do you know what?
I
know, Chris. I know he's your friend. I know he's your friend, but fuck me, this is boring.
I probably blocked you.
Probably.
Yeah.
In fact,
no. You can't block people now.
In fact, that diesel, the Volkswagen one, did come up actually.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That one's been going.
So basically, nobody in that first half an hour, it's impossible. Even if you showed it to a cinema of people, you couldn't get their feedback in that half an hour because the video's half an hour long, give or take.
Yeah.
So how can the gods decide that it's a good video or a bad video?
Yeah.
It does it because of the thumbnail and the title.
Yeah.
So you could make the biggest pile of shit video that's ever been made, pretty much. If you're very good at lying and you're prepared to lie and jazz up the truth, and put a silly title on it and a silly thumbnail on it, and you're prepared to do that, you will get those half an hour views. You will get it. Yes, in time, the algorithm might go, well, actually, people dropped off, so they weren't that interested.
Yeah.
But we all know that first hour is the most important hour.
Yeah.
It's all the next 24 is based off that one.
Yeah, 100%.
I made a mistake the other night. I put a video up, and it was that Paul Denning one. Yeah. And I was like, 10 minutes later, it had like 89 views. I was like, what? This is bad. Like, something's gone wrong. And it was the England football were playing. And I was like, oh, shit. But that one did actually sort of, people came back. And obviously, I don't watch football. I gather it wasn't a
Maybe they got bored.
Well, I gather it wasn't a particularly entertaining game.
Are any games entertaining?
I don't.
Are you a football man?
No.
Oh, my God.
No. Do you know what would solve football for me? Make it more entertaining.
Make bigger goals.
Take the goalie out.
Goalies never seem to do anything anyway.
Well, just take him out.
Yeah,
just have a pop at it from there, mate.
Yeah.
Have a crack.
Do you know what I think would make it more
Take a shot.
Is if they cut all their wages into, like, if they paid them about 5% of what they get paid, I think they'll probably focus a bit more on the game. And
see, I surprisingly, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
It's an economic decision based on how much revenue they generate.
Yeah.
So if they generate a lot of revenue, give them some revenue.
Yes, I agree with that. But then I think my problem with that with footballers is they then spend most of their lives rolling around complaining about being fouled when they're not being fouled, and they're just like, I don't know. I see it more as a drama, as like a sort of drama show than a football game these days. And I just think,
but you have admitted that you don't really watch football.
I don't watch football. My brother's a massive. My brother lives and breathes football. He lives in Australia, so whenever it's football season, he'll spend most nights watching football. He'll stay up all night to watch football. Whereas
people do get quite into it, don't they?
Yeah. It's and that also puts me off about it. It's the whole. None of that appeals to me. That's just me. I mean, I get that. Some people love it.
MotoGP.
Oh, absolutely. MotoGP.
What's your F1?
No,
let's talk. Yeah,
I'll watch F1 on a Sunday. I mean, I would never pay whatever you pay for Sky. Is Sky now still? Never ever. No. I'll watch F1 if I'm at home on a Sunday afternoon and the highlights are on TV, and I haven't been shown that Max has won 50,000 times on my Instagram feed. So the chance of that's pretty slim. And it's not even that. I'm a big Max fan. I think Max is unbelievable. I think he gets a lot of. We know that Red Bull's fast, but if you look at anyone that's been successful over the past 30 years, the car, Lewis's car was pretty damn fast. But
Vettel when he was in there.
Yeah, exactly. All of them. But the F1 doesn't appeal to me really that much, which is weird because I am a four-wheel guy. But I've always watched MotoGP. World Superbikes, British Superbikes, if I can find it.
British Superbike. I've gone off British Superbikes a bit this year. I'm not really into it. I find
the shaky burn days were the good.
I'm just not finding it that exciting. I don't have any skin in the game anymore, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're looking at World Superbikes, I mean, hang on. Let's give some. We don't give enough love to BMW, so let's give it a little.
Top Rack, your boyfriend.
My boyfriend, Top Rack.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had a bet with Al
at
the beginning before the season started, and he bet that Top Whack wouldn't even win a race this year.
Oh well, that bet went a bit
Yeah,
South.
he'll never admit to saying that. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
So well, there's several people watching actually, and yeah, last time out, Mazzano, all three, fastest lap. Do you know? Here's this statistic. I don't know if you guys know this. So the race lap, sprint race it was to be fair on the qualifying tyres, but the race lap that Top Rack did, lap record, was 1 second off Pecco Bagnaia's MotoGP race fastest lap.
Wow.
1 second. What and the billions and the aero and the ride height device and a MotoGP bike must be 300 horsepower plus. I would have thought must be 320, something like that. Want to go 1 second off a BMW that you obviously
and
can't
off
buy one
Pecco
off the
as well. So when you go back in the field, so he was probably quicker than a Honda.
Oh wait, yeah.
Probably quicker than Luca Marini doing 7-minute laps in the Honda.
Wait, did he get to the end of the lap?
I don't know.
I feel so sorry for those Honda riders, but
I do. But then, why did they sign Luca Marini? Sign?
I think that was a choice. I think he just was a bit of a. Well, I'm going to go over here then.
Yeah, but why? What a Honda gain? I don't. Is it just the fact that Lucas Rossi's half brother that they thought would cap? What a Honda gaining from Luca Marini? They've got to start. Honda have got to start thinking we need to employ riders that can actually. I think their biggest mistake, but it was a blessing in disguise, was Marc Marquez brought all that success. But I think we know now that Marc could basically ride anything and developed a wild bull that nobody else could ride. Apart from, to be fair, I say nobody else, but when these classic races come up that are 5-6 years old, and you watch them, like at the time, I don't think, me included, gave Cal enough credit. But Cal, on a lot of qualifying sessions and a lot of end of race, he was only seconds off Marc at the end of a lot of races, sometimes 1 or 2 times beat. And you just think, but then when Cal left and then Marc crashed, then suddenly, no one can ride the Honda. But actually, you have to give Cal a lot of credit when you look back on those years, because he would always say this was a pretty difficult bike to ride, but you never had anywhere to judge it.
No, and you can't. I don't think you can really make that equation, because the bike's a constant evolution.
Yes,
and even if that one doesn't evolve, the rest of the field evolves. Yeah. So you then have to ride it so much harder to try and keep up with the rest of the field, and which is why you crash.
Yes, and that's what happened in the last 3 or 4 years. With the aero and but I just don't.
But I think Top Rack's a bit like. I mean,
Top Rack's amazing.
Yeah, and again, he was 1.5 seconds faster than any other BMW.
Wow. Yeah.
That boy is the best motorcycle rider we have seen in 40 years.
Yeah.
And that may be beyond that. I think he is actually the best motorcycle rider that's ever lived.
But he comes across,
and he's 27, so he's still got time.
But he comes across as a lovely.
That's
bloke.
What makes him even better.
Yeah, he comes across as a lovely bloke. He hasn't let it get to his head, but also he's an entertainer. I mean, Top Rack from his BMW wins as much as Top Rack from his endos in the pit lane, and you watch it even today. Like recently, I can't remember, a couple of weeks ago, he did one, and you can see all the other teams in the pit lane. They're all just like, all the mechanics, everyone's just, they've probably seen it 1,000 times because he does it everywhere, but they're all just out there watching him do this nose wheelie because it's just so cool. And that brings it's just all these elements. It's a bit like my mate Brendan Fairclough, who I think, like Brendan.
We were the top 2 fastest.
People in at Palmer Sport.
Yeah,
but Bren unfortunately never won a World Cup downhill race. He always had the talent, but he just, for whatever reason, he podiumed a couple of times. But Bren, especially in the last 5-6 years, Bren has got his sponsorship and his support from manufacturers and brands, because Brendan he does cool things like a Top Rack. The equivalent of a top rack nose wheelie. Brendan is entertaining people in other ways, not just the fastest person on the clock. He does, and it's a package, isn't it? But Top Rack, I think personally, BMW. When do the rules change? In MotoGP 27?
Yeah, 27? I think they're going to go into it.
So do I.
And I think Top Rack's going to be on a bike. Yeah. I don't know if he'll be on the BMW. Apparently, there's a clause in his contract. If he wins the championship, he can exit. Why
would he want to exit?
To go to MotoGP. Exit early. Apparently. That's just whispers.
Okay.
But yeah, he's the nicest guy off. He just wants to ride. He doesn't involve himself in shittery off track.
Yeah.
You never see him with like some pouty fucking Instagram bitch.
Yeah.
He's just
What? I saw him with you.
there's been a few in my life, sad to say, but they've all been lessons very well learned. And but yeah, he doesn't involve himself in stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's out there training all the time.
Straight talking. What you see is what you get with him. And
Lovely bloke.
Yeah.
Well, look, mate, time's upon us, really.
Yeah, how long has that been?
It's an hour and 45.
Oh,
so we're about to run out of memory.
Yeah,
space,
well, I'll have to charge you for, if we go into just over 2 hours, I'll have to charge you for another hour.
Okay, well, we'll definitely turn off now then.
I mean, charge BMW. Yeah, charge it back to them. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I think we've given BMW enough shout-outs, really.
Yeah, they do pay us a lot of money, though.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Just in case you're sitting there, I'm being sarcastic. He's not, because he does get paid a lot by BMW, but I'm being sarcastic.
Well, it's a good place to leave it. I'm going to go and count my Deutschmark.
Yes.
I wish they still had Deutschmark. I hate the bloody euro.
French francs as well, remember that?
French francs.
Yeah.
Kronas. Pesetas. Potatoes. Hey, mate, how many potatoes is that cerveza? Buddy, pleasure as always. Thank you for coming down. And yeah, you're always welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And look forward to you getting your trousers off once we turn the cameras off.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things I wanted to talk about, but we just don't have time. So we'll have to do another one. And if you want to follow Joe Achilles, one word, Instagram.
Yep.
Joe Achilles, one word, YouTube.
Yep.
One L though, isn't it?
No, two.
Is it ILLI?
ILLES.
ILLES. Okay.
Yeah. ACHILLES.
I'm dyslexic, so
yeah.
I'll get it.
Achilles, as they say in France.
Achilles.
Mr. Achilles. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that's me.
Nice. All right. Cheers, guys.
Ciao. I can't believe I just said that.
What?
Ciao.
Ciao. That's because you're a massive fucking bellend. That's why.